Now, yesterday, on top of announcing that Warner Brothers is going to achieve their destiny by dropping the letters HBO from their streaming service name, they did make a lot of big announcements, like a lot of very, very significantly sized announcements. The Conjuring is getting its own series, right? Big. The Robert Downey Jr. has got a couple of projects he's got going on with them. The Barbie house reality show competition is coming.
Oh, yeah.
And the world stood still for a moment when they announced that. But of course, really, other than also they showed a Penguin teaser, which I thought was fantastic. That's got me super excited for the Penguin. But they made it official. We reported a few weeks ago that there were reports going around that Warner Brothers was looking at doing a Harry Potter series, and such a series would be based on each one of the books being represented in a season of television. So Claire, they'd be rebooting the franchise, starting from scratch. And yesterday they made it official. The Harry Potter series and franchise is coming. And they're going to go back to the beginning. And they called it a 10-year series, which makes me assume that there's going to be a couple of the books that get split into 2 seasons. But they're going to do it over the course of 10 seasons. It's a 10-year plan. You got to think about 10-year plans. I said James Gunn was going to make a 10-year plan for DC. Now they got their 10-year plan for Harry Potter.
Now I got to survive another 10 years.
Just to make sure you get to see this one, which means, of course, all new cast. We're going to have a new Harry. We're going to have a new Ron. We're going to have a new Hermione. We're going to have a new Dumbledore and Snape and everybody else. And we're going to have a lot of questions to ask about that as we move on. But the question I wanted us to address here today, because something they did not answer about this yesterday. Who's going to run this show? Because I'm telling you, in the world of movies, the first person who will be most responsible for the quality of a film, not 100% responsible, but most responsible is the director, right? That's not the case in television. The case in television is who's running the show, who's the showrunner. That will be the person that will ultimately be the guiding North Star of the show and set the overall pace and direction, hire on the directors to direct their individual episodes and lead the writer's room and all that kind of stuff. It's the showrunner. And so who is the ideal person or people to actually helm this Harry Potter kind of universe and this Harry Potter world? Now, normally I lead off with stuff like this, but Chris, let's go over to you on this first. This is going to be it is going to be, number one, it's not going to be the most flashy announcement that comes out about the new Harry Potter series, about who's going to be the showrunner. But I think we all agree it is single-handedly the most important announcement that's going to have to come is who is running this show, who's going to be in charge of it, who's going to set the direction. So when you look at this new Harry Potter series, who are some of the names of people you could see helming a new Harry Potter series?
Oh, well, you could have a Mark Guggenheim doing Carnival Row, right? Already existing in that kind of fantastical world with magic and everything being real. This is probably a cop-out, but I definitely think you can look to past Doctor Who showrunners and use them here too.
I don't see why that's a cop-out.
Just to being like any showrunner from Doctor Who. I would personally go with like a Chris Chibnall who did Torchwood. I think he would be wonderful in that. Stephen Moffat, as long as he doesn't give Harry Potter a frickin' mind palace, because that seems to be like the only thing he does now is like, and Sherlock has a mind palace and Peter Capaldi has a mind palace. I'm over it, Stephen. Move on. The one who I'm really excited about though, and I had to double check some stuff on her, but she did End of the Fucking World, and that is a comic book adaptation. So somebody who's already worked with taking something that existed in print form and made it a show and everything. And that is Charlie, what is her last name? Charlie Koval, I think could be a really, really interesting fit here. She worked with young actors. Obviously, End of the Fucking World is a much different kind of thing. It's a very kind of dark but humorous look at somebody who thinks they're a serial killer and is like, I should graduate to killing people. And it's very, very different, but she's used to working with young talent. She obviously has a knack for adapting things well and making sure that that transition makes sense. So I think that one could work pretty well too. And if he didn't want to keep making Academy Award nominated films, I'd really love to see Alfonso Cuarón because his Harry Potter is my favorite one. So take a step back from the director's seat and maybe do some show running could be really cool because he had such a great vision for that film.
All right, so I've got 5 names.
Okay.
And surprisingly, none of my names are the same as yours.
Oh, all right.
So I've got 5 different unique. Now, when I was looking at it, I wasn't looking at people who run shows that were like Harry Potter. I was looking for people who were producing and writing and show running shows that nailed the same kind of themes and the same kind of temperaments maybe that I would want to see brought into this new Harry Potter world. So here are the 5 names. These are in no particular order. These are the 5 names that I could see. I'm going to start off with Dan Fogelman.
Oh.
Dan Fogelman is one of the showrunners of This Is Us, which has, of course, been with the adult age bracket on television, was like the #1 show for like 6 years. It's all about family, relationships, bonds, drama between people who are special to each other and all that kind of stuff. But lest you think that's a little too heavy, he's also one of the main producers of Only Murders in the Building. So this is a guy who has known how to shepherd shows that, like, you think a guy like this kind of guiding the evolving dynamic and relationship between Ron, Hermione, and Harry growing up and all that kind of stuff. He brings that, but you also want a little bit of that lightheartedness, that joy. The guy has also done it with Only Murders in the Building. He has a track record of success. He knows what he's doing. He brings those themes to life really, really well. And if you can transfer that into the Harry Potter stuff, I think you got something really special there. So my first one up, again, no particular order, is Dan Fogelman. All right. We go down after that to Stephanie Robinson. Stephanie Robinson was a showrunner on Atlanta and a writer-producer showrunner for What We Do in the Shadows. Same kind of mixture here that we were looking at with Dan, right? So you're talking about being able to bring characters that we get attached to, whether you're looking at Nandor or whatever. You're developing these characters that we completely emotionally attached to and give us joy and make us laugh and all that kind of stuff. And then you cross that with something like stuff that she did with Atlanta, right? That's a really interesting range there. And again, for me, it's thematically. If you can take those types of things that she's done there with Atlanta and What We Do in the Shadows, and of course, I'm a little bit biased here because everybody knows how freaking much I love What We Do in the Shadows. But you take somebody like that, who's had that type of success with that kind of wide-ranging thematic stuff, and bring it into Harry Potter, I think you got a winner here. So we got Dan, we got Stephanie. Next name I want to put out there is Bill Hader. Bill Hader is a known Harry Potter fan. He is in the HBO family. He's won awards for the HBO family. He's the creator of Barry. He was a dialogue writer on Inside Out, a writer for South Park, a longtime writer on Saturday Night Live. This is a guy who can make dramatic and funny television at the same time. He brings a gravitas with him because it's the only recognizable name on the list. It's Bill Hader. But again, HBO might be looking at this and saying, let's keep this one in-house. Let's keep this one in-house. To which you might say, well, why not then the showrunner of Succession or whatever? I'm looking for themes here, and I don't see a lot of transferring principles from Succession into a Harry Potter world. But Bill Hader, he's in the HBO family. He is a fan of the property, and he's got a lot of diverse stuff of making some really, really great entertainment that also goes into great depth with the success that he had with Barry. All right. A couple more names here. The next one up I want to mention is Bill Lawrence. Bill Lawrence is the creator of Scrubs, and right now he's got 2 of the best shows on television right now with Ted Lasso, and Chris and I have been telling you guys about Shrinking. Mm-hmm. If you are not watching Shrinking, you are not making good choices with your life. Because
Truly.
Shrinking is absolutely phenomenal. What Jason Segel and Harrison Ford do on that show, and the whole cast. You know what might be my favorite character in that show?
Who?
The neighbor's husband.
I love him so much.
What's his name again? It's not Dan, is it?
Oh.
I can't remember because
I'll try and
so
look.
many times too, the best friend just refers to him as husband.
Yeah, but
Where he's just like, okay.
For argument's sake, like two of the best lines I ever heard, because he's a character who just pops up and gives one line and then walks away. It's like, hey Dan, what are you doing? Just walking the dog I never wanted. That's one of the, I don't know why that killed me.
Is it
or it's
Derek?
like the guy, Jason goes over to see if his daughter's at their house. Hey, is my daughter in there? Yeah. And hey, I thought I was done raising kids, so thanks for that.
Yeah.
And then walks off. And his sexual jokes are absolutely hilarious.
Oh, they're
too.
fantastic.
But I mean-
Tell Jimmy he's got a nice ass. What a great ass. He could do some squats.
Oh, you know what? And what was the annoying neighbor's name? Let's just say Karen for argument's sake.
Liz, his wife?
No.
Or, no, the really mean
The
one.
the woman that Liz is arguing
Yeah.
with. So his wife is arguing with, let's call her Karen for a second, and she's arguing, and then Liz's husband pulls up. He goes, "Hey, Karen," and Liz turns over. "We're mad at Karen. Eat a dick, Karen." He's great. Anyway, let's get back to Bill Lawrence. Again, talking themes. When you look at shows like, well, Scrubs is more pure comedy. They had some dramatic stuff in it. I love
Brendan
Scrubs.
Fraser episode. Oof.
Which one?
Brendan Fraser
Oh,
episode.
yeah. And by the
one.
way, Ryan Reynolds' episode was pretty fun too. But when you look at Ted Lasso and Shrinking, these are like shows and series that are incredibly hilarious, but there's real drama in them as well, and real themes and depth to both of them, that when the humor hits, it just makes the humor hit all the harder. You know what I mean? And so you got a guy with this out of anybody on this list, I think Bill has the best track record of success. So you bring this kind of a resume, that kind of a track record of success, and you ask him to take a lot of those principles and transfer them over to a Harry Potter world. He's one of the most respected guys in the business. I don't know if he's a Potterhead or not. I've not heard if he is or not, but you take a guy like that with that type of resume who's able to write and create that kind of stuff and guide those types of stories. I personally think he'd be a pretty good fit for a Harry Potter. All right, let's move on to my last one here. A little bit out of the box. I can go the Duffer Brothers. Because when you talk about Stranger Things, which is obviously not a children's book first, like Harry Potter was, but I would argue that there's a lot of parallels between Stranger Things and the world of Harry Potter, right? And you're talking about guys who have run a show that has your main protagonists as kids and children living in a world that has adult drama. There's supernatural and fantastical elements, and we get to watch these kids grow up and develop and change, and their story arcs develop and change, stuff like that. This is one of those picks for me that is strictly because of the parallels. There's a lot of parallels there, and they have had, listen, Stranger Things dominates television, at least the last season did, right? They've clearly had a world of success. Now, the biggest thing working against the Duffer Brothers right now is the fact that they want to do more Stranger Things stuff. Okay, be that as it may. I still think this would be a very interesting choice. Like if Variety tomorrow reported the Duffer Brothers are signed on to showrun this Harry Potter series, that is something I would be pretty excited about. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be pretty excited with any of these names. If Bill Lawrence gets announced, I'm going to be super excited. If Bill Hader gets announced, I'm going to be super excited. If Stephanie Robinson gets announced, I'm going to be super excited. If Dan Fogelman gets announced, I'm going to be super excited. A number of your picks as well, like a Doctor Who showrunner. Again, because I don't think anybody on my list are British.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's an essential thing.
No, because they could
but
go
it
over
helps.
there. But the Duffer Brothers too, because they're planning to do a West End show version of Stranger Things. So, I mean, I know anyone can get on a plane, but it might help if they're already working on something there.
And so listen, on tomorrow's show, we're going to go in and talk a little bit about, we're going to do something I don't normally like to do, which is the little bit of fan casting thing, but we're going to talk tomorrow about ideal adults playing the adult roles in Harry Potter. Who can we see playing Snape? Who could we see playing, the various adult characters out? We'll talk about that one tomorrow. But the most important decision they need to make is who's going to run this thing. And you heard some of Chris's, we've heard some of mine. What about you guys? Do you guys have some big names involved? They don't even have to be big names, but do you guys have some names on the top of your head who could actually step in and just be a great showrunner, executive producer, head writer, whatever term you want to give it, to run the new Harry Potter series? Whatever you guys have on the top of your head, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Manscaped. Gentlemen, if you didn't already know, it's tax season here in the US, and you know what that means? It means that Manscaped is here to make sure your paperwork is done and your boys downstairs are having fun. Make sure you spend your tax return money on the important things in life, like family, friends, and ball deodorant. Join the 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code Campea. Guys, I love all my Manscaped products, from the body wash to the lawnmower, an elegant tool for a more enlightened age. So what better way to invest your tax return than into yourself? Manscaped has the full package from head to toe to make sure you get your money's worth this April. The Performance Package 4.0 is the ultimate bundle you need to reinvent yourself and your confidence. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is the star of the show, offering a precise shave on all your widest hedges. Equipped with with an LED light so you can navigate in and out of those difficult areas with ease. The Performance Package 4.0 now includes Manscaped's brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. And don't forget, for all my international friends out there with a little bit of scruff, Manscaped now has beard products. The start of spring also marks the start of Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. Manscaped has partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA at manscaped.com. Don't just get your money back this year, get your swagger back too with Manscaped.